Hello and welcome to my channel. I have Pink and Main's September 2021 Crafty Courtyard kit. This one is called Pumpkin Season, and I did skip the last couple of months of the monthly kit, but I thought this one was a nice one to keep because I don't really have a lot of fall themed items in my stash, so I thought this would be a good addition to my craft goodies. And plus there's a tool that came in this month's kit, which I thought was a really nice little bonus. So I did open this just to organize things a little bit and make it a little bit easier to walk through. So I'll start with the larger sheets of cardstock. So we get the 2 sheets of 110-pound ice rink cardstock in white, and these are really smooth, and it's 110 pounds, so great for your card bases as well. I think because it's so smooth, it would be really good to stamp and color on. So usually I would save these for my flat cards where I'm perhaps stamping or doing inky backgrounds directly on the card base itself, because it is thick enough to be your card base. And then we've got some basil cardstock as usual. We have it in 4 different colors here. Really love the color palette this month, especially the inclusion of this sort of turquoisey color, which is one of my favorite colors. But in terms of the color palette for this month, I think it really helps to brighten up a lot of the earth tones, so that's really nice. And then this, we get 2 sheets of this lighter weight cardstock. So this is 8.5 by 11, and it's I think it would be like maybe a 60-pound weight if I had to guess. It does look like it's solid core. And so we have a couple sheets of that, and then we have a sheet of this glitter cardstock. So really nice. And then getting into the project bag. And I do love that they include the project bag because it's really nice to put everything into the bag. The only thing that doesn't really fit is the basil paper, if you haven't used it yet anyways, because they do have that little half-inch or so of the branding. So otherwise, I think pretty much everything else would fit in there. And so every month we do get sequins and enamel glitter dots that perfectly match with the color palette for the month, so that's really nice. And the sequins, they're all the same size, just different colors, and with the enamel dots you have a variety of colors and a variety of sizes. And one thing that's really nice about the enamel dots is that it's dimensional, but it's not super thick or super raised. So if you're like me and you send a lot of cards through the mail, it does help to keep your card relatively flat, but it is still nice to have that extra bit of texture and dimensionality. So I always really love their enamel dots. My flare button is a pumpkin. So there's that, and then this is the tool that I was referring to. So it's their reverse tweezers, and if you don't have these, they're really handy because the default state is closed, and so to open it you do have to push. So that's the opposite or the reverse of a standard pair of tweezers. And these come in handy when you need to hold something but you don't want to hold it by your fingertips. So maybe there are embellishments or items that are really small and you're just trying to get them into place. The thing that the occasion that I use them for is when I do like die cut inlaying. It's kind of nice to have because some of the pieces that fall out of a die cut can be rather small, and so getting them into position is really nice to have tweezers. And the reverse tweezers are just like a little easier on your hands because you don't have to continue to kind of push in order to grip it. So once you get it within the grips, you can just hold it and your tweezers will continue to kind of pinch closed. And the other occasion that I use these a lot for is heat embossing. So sometimes if you're heat embossing something that's small or has so much coverage that there's really not a good place to hold on to it without kind of endangering your hands. And having these tweezers, you can actually kind of hold onto your cardstock, and then that way your hands are further away from the heat gun. So really nice to have these. Then we have our 6x6 paper pad. There are 24 sheets, and there are 24 unique designs. So these are double-sided. So if you wanted, you can actually use every single design in this paper pad. And because they're double-sided, if there's one that you didn't so much, love or you found kind of difficult to incorporate into your projects, you can always use the reverse side. So that's really nice. And the thing that I really like about the Pink and Main paper pads is that they offer a lot of variety in a few different ways. So not only are the designs unique and different, and you get a large assortment of them, but you have variety in a lot of sort of graphical, repeat patterns like these, and you have some florals as well, and geometrics, and then you've got multicolor patterns like these here. And again, we're getting more into your geometrics, and then you get some monochromatic patterns as well. So the other thing also is that you get different size prints. So you have some things that are a larger print, some things that are smaller prints. So that's can be really nice too. And one thing that I've found that is fairly consistent across all of their kits is that there's usually one pattern that you'll get the same pattern but in 5 or 6 colorways that obviously coordinate with the color palette for that month. And usually it's the pattern that's sort of maybe the easiest to use because it's kind of got small repeats. So like this one here, it's mostly solid, but you get a little bit of that random polka dot pattern. And we have the 6 sheets in each of the 6 colors from the palette for this month. So it's nice to have all of this variety because if you're creating a project where you're using a lot of these different papers together, then not only are they part of the same color palette, but because we get, some that are smaller in design, you can mix and match a lot better. And, overall, you wouldn't want to necessarily use, 2 patterns like this on the same project without something else to kind of break it up or, anchor so that your eyes can kind of have a little bit of a resting spot from the pattern. So that's why I really always love their paper pads, because it's so easy to use everything, because you get such a nice variety in a multitude of different ways in terms of color, size of pattern, and type of pattern too, geometric versus graphical and whatnot. So love their papers. Then we get a stencil, and this one is a pumpkin pattern. Well, let's see if this is better. So there's that. Let's see. I think it's probably easier to see on solid color cardstock. And I like these pumpkins. Some of them are like kind of like an irregular shape. So that's kind of nice. It feels a little bit more natural that way. And then our stamp and die set. Really cool. One thing that I've noticed with at least the stamp sets that come in the kit, And I don't know if this is always the case or not, but I've noticed that a lot of the times it's these more solid stamps. So as opposed to an outline stamp that then you would need to go back in and color, maybe with alcohol markers or color pencils or whatever your favorite coloring medium is, these you would just ink them up with whatever color that you want and get that color that way. So it's a lot faster if you're like me and you're not sort of super proficient with coloring, or if coloring takes you a long time but you need to create a quick card. So really love that. And these are sort of multi stamps that are sort of broken out. So you get your 3 pumpkins, but the stems are separate, so you can ink them in different colors and just line them up. And probably you can mix and match the stems also if you wanted. They are kind of suggesting, what goes with which, but, I think you've got that creative freedom to do whatever you want. And there's the acorn here. Then there's a candle, and the candle is multi-part as well. So here's the base to the candle, at least this larger candle, and then you have the main candle, the column, and then you've got if you wanted to stamp over this top area, you can sort of stamp it in a different color, the sort of melty part, and then you have your flame and your wick separate from that. And same with this thinner candlestick as well. And then you've got a book here, you've got a lot of different swirls and embellishments, leaves, bows, hearts, and then you've got the coffee mug, which could be, I guess, hot cocoa with marshmallows floating in. I'm guessing that whipped cream would fit into the mug, and you could do some masking to make it look like it's sort of whipped cream. And you've got little cinnamon sticks, or I don't know what or those little cookies. I think they're, I forget the name of them. But you have those, and it looks like this could be a cupcake. Yeah, so I think that could be a cupcake with the frosting. And it looks like there is a die here that would cut out that stamped image once it's all stamped together. And this looks like it looks too big, but it looks like you could stamp a different color inside your this band on the mug here, but not 100% on that. I'll have to play around with those a little bit. But I love all the different variations you have. So you do have the die to cut the mug out as well. And if you did want to use the coordinating dies, which I always love that they have started to include now, what I was saying with the pumpkins where you can kind of mix and match the stems. Well, if you want to use the dies, then you do need to use the correct stem to go with it, because it's really specific to that shaped pumpkin. But yeah, really awesome kit. Love it. Can't wait to craft with it. And so when I do craft with this kit, I'll be sure to link to that video at the end of this one. Until then, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Thanks. Bye.